Welcome to the 60 Plus Podcast.
I'm Janet.
And I'm Joe. How are you, Janet?
I'm good, Joe. How are you?
Gosh, we're back to I'm good.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, how can you not remember this?
I just like to annoy you.
Well, that's true, but I
I
don't
know
think
the
that's
feelings are mutual. Anyway, so what are we talking about today, Joe?
We're talking about downsizing.
Yeah, this is a thing, right?
It is a
people.
thing.
Yeah, it's people our age especially. You get to that point where maybe you've had a change in your marital status for one reason or another. Maybe you're living alone for the first time. Maybe you're thinking about retirement. There's a bunch of reasons why
All
you
kinds of
might.
reasons. You want to get out from under a mortgage. You want to go to a warmer
Yeah,
climate. You want to
yeah.
just move from the suburbs to a city.
Right.
A lot of people do that.
Did you ever go through that process?
I did. You made me think of something, and now I forget.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Wait, that was last
I
week's
know, that was last
episode.
week's
Memory. Have you been practicing your memory inducing
I don't remember.
behaviors? What were they again?
Yeah. No, I've been trying to get better sleep.
Good.
Diet, yes, always.
Mediterranean diet.
Yeah, the diet. I've been on the Mediterranean diet for years, especially the wine side of things.
Are you doing brain games?
Always. I do. I try and do the New York Times crossword puzzle.
Mini, not the big one.
No.
The big one?
I'm pretty. So
that's impressive.
A lot of people don't know that the easiest one is Monday. And then they get progressively more difficult throughout the week.
Okay. So I might have a fighting chance on Monday.
So I'm pretty good on Monday. I can usually get to within one word.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Tuesday I can do about half. Tuesday I can do about half.
Okay.
By Thursday,
I had no
forget
idea
it.
this was going to be such a long conversation.
By Thursday, I'm done.
What was it that this episode was supposed to be about?
Downsizing. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say.
Oh.
You said, a lot of people our age downsize. When you're not our age, when you're younger, it's just called moving.
Well, and accumulating. It's funny. There's that moment in time where you go from accumulation to decumulation.
Yeah, and there's like a stasis in between. It's
right.
Yeah,
where you just carry around all these boxes that you haven't opened for 25 years and yada, yada, yada.
My daughter asked me a couple of weeks ago what I wanted for Christmas. And I said, I don't want anything. I want experiences. I don't want anything.
You just want to collect memories, and then hopefully you do all those things to remember them. I agree wholeheartedly. Especially when you have to buy something that you already owned, but then gave away for one reason or another.
Well, that happens during downsizing.
I am not going to buy that again. I don't care what it takes.
What's an example of that?
I don't know, a cheese grater.
I was going to say a cheese grater.
I don't know why.
I was going to say a cheese grater and measuring cups.
Yeah.
Measuring cups.
Well, or something, like a bigger machine, like a bread maker, or not that I would, things like that. But anyway.
Are you a bread maker yourself? Do you make bread?
I do make bread, but I don't make it in a bread maker.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to have a bread maker.
I make mini loaves, and I usually do it at Christmas time, which is coming up.
We're smack in the middle of...
You too may get a mini loaf.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot. Don't be piggy. So, key reasons for downsizing over 60.
Okay.
Right? Lower maintenance. Right?
Yep.
Because larger homes, right? With multiple floors and big yards and big basements and all that space to store your boxes that you haven't opened for years. It's just easier, right? It's so much easier to have a smaller home and less maintenance.
Sure.
I used to have a huge yard, and now the other day I actually got out some clippers, and I thought, oh, I should probably trim up those bushes. And I was like, nah, I don't feel
Just let them go.
Let them be. Let them just be.
They're wilding.
Yeah, exactly. My whole garden's wilding.
All right. So lower maintenance.
Yep.
There are financial benefits.
Definitely. Right.
So I said something. Some people need to get out from under a heavy mortgage, or they want to free up some equity.
Property taxes.
Property in the Northeast where we live.
Woof, right?
Tax, yeah.
Or especially at my utility bills in the winter are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
is that why it's always so cold at your house?
Yeah. I don't need the heat. I can just put on my parka.
It sounds so forced when you say that.
I know, right?
It's Parker.
Parker.
Nope.
So, all right, I'm working on it. I'm working on my accent.
All right.
Then there's accessibility, right? So if you have like issues with stairs or,
I don't know
you know,
anyone that has issues with stairs.
don't even say it. And, maybe it's safety issues, right?
Sure.
When you're in a big house in the woods and there's nobody around you, that's a safety issue. And, when it's nice when you're in more of a community where people see you every day and they can do wellness checks, which is good.
Okay. I mentioned change in climate. I know a lot of people who will winter in Florida or Arizona,
Yeah.
and some of them completely changed residence. They've
Right.
eliminated their northern home and they live in the
Yeah.
south.
Or they live on a boat.
A boat or a
Yeah.
van.
There's
There's people that go move in a van.
alternative lifestyles.
Sure.
Yeah.
When my kids were applying for college, I told them the only thing that they couldn't base their college decision on was climate.
Yeah.
Anything else, large, small, geography is fine. But if you're just picking a college to be someplace warm, no, it's not a good reason.
Well, I don't know.
Retirement is a different matter. You can pick where to retire based on climate.
Exactly. Exactly. And I don't know about you, but it seems like the older I get, the less I like cold.
Turn your heat up.
No, no, I
Just turn the
refuse.
heat up, Janet.
No, I won't.
There are family reasons to move. You can
Yeah.
be moving to be closer to family
Right. And we
or
actually
farther
had,
away from family.
well, we had a whole episode about this,
We did,
remember?
yeah.
Yeah.
I do
About,
remember.
moving to be near your family
Mhm.
and, making that decision about that. But that's a good time to think about, downsizing, going through all your belongings and deciding what is it that I really need to take. Or just, it just may be a lifestyle change. You
Right.
know, you
Yep.
might just less clutter, or maybe you're moving towards more pickleball, leisure
Sure.
activities, things like that, or near water, or whatever it is.
It could be.
It seems like now is the time to have that lifestyle that you've kind of dreamed about. And maybe that includes downsizing.
And it could be you're downsizing because you want to travel more and you're not going to be home quite as much, or you're going to winter in one location and summer in another location.
Maybe.
So you want smaller
Right.
places.
Right. And then
Now,
there's that single thing that happens, right? At our age.
where you sell the home and split the proceeds and go your separate ways.
That can be, yeah. Or you
Mhm.
lose a spouse from other reasons.
Or
Sadder
uh,
reasons.
yeah, or you
Yeah.
could be widowed. Or
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So
Some
there's
people,
lots of reasons that this happens.
yeah, some people even move for health reasons to be closer to caregivers and
And health facilities.
exactly.
Yeah. So, okay. So there's lots of reasons to do it. So how do you make this painless, right? Like,
Can we get back to one thing though? Because we talked about selling to get out from under a mortgage or to free up equity. There are tax implications that you need to be aware of when you sell, as opposed to holding on to the house and letting your heirs inherit it. There are different tax implications that people should be very aware of.
I was thinking that we should actually tackle that as an episode. Like, it's end of year, taxes, thinking about what's happening in your life, what's changing with the tax structure. And that might be one of those decision points where you have to look at the implications.
So now, once you've made the decision, oh, I want to downsize. I
Yeah.
want to get out from under the big house.
Yeah.
I've got
It's-
5
yeah.
empty bedrooms.
Right. I mean, it's a daunting task. We all know that, right?
hmm
And it's not just daunting in the sense of the physical aspects, but I think there's a lot of an emotional
Of
aspect
course.
to it too, right? You may have lived in this home for a long time. It
May
may be
raise
a
your children
family
there,
home,
right.
for generations. There's a lot of emotional attachments to the place. So there's a bunch of tips that we've researched and would like to share with anybody who's facing into this, either end of year this year or maybe sometime next year. This might be a good time to take a listen to some of these tips.
All right.
The first one is to start early,
Yes.
because it is a decision process, right? You have to decide, what are you going to keep? What are you going to take? You don't want to feel rushed through it. And if there's a lot to go through, you don't want to be freaking out. The movers are coming in 2 days and you still have 25 boxes
When
in
I
there.
was downsizing, I can't even begin to tell you some of the things that I found that were like,
Oh my
why do I have
gosh.
old phone bills from 15 years ago?
Right. Or, yeah, just, I know it's crazy the stuff that I found in boxes that I hadn't opened in a long time.
Hmm.
And, that's part of this process, which takes a while, right? And you have to kind of make a plan. What are you going to keep? What are you going to donate? What are you going to sell? What are you going to throw away? So that's a lot. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah. And
And it can be, you're going to run across things that are very kind of sentimental treasures,
yeah.
and you've got
Right.
to decide what to do with those.
Yeah. And there's this thought process that, what do you truly need it? Right. Versus what do you value? And I remember when I was going through this, somebody said, "Oh, well, I learned, this trick that, when you are going through things and do you need it? Yes, that's a definite, it's going to go with you, right?
A cheese grater.
But yeah, but what do you
How often do you
value?"
need to grate cheese, Janet? Are you a big
I
grated cheese
I
person?
love fresh grated Parmesan
Do
cheese.
you?
Yeah, I did it last night actually.
What did you have for dinner?
I well, I made. Are we really going to talk
Yeah,
about what
sure,
I?
why not?
I actually made a sort of like a pasta dish, but it wasn't like real pasta.
It
We
was
just
fake
had,
pasta.
no, it was artichoke pasta.
Oh, yeah,
It's
that's fake.
really
It's fake. It's
good.
fake pasta.
No,
Yep.
it's really
No, okay,
tasty.
never mind. I'm
It's
sorry I asked. I'm sorry I
healthy. It
asked.
was yummy.
I'm sure. That's
Anyway,
because of the Parmesan.
yeah, lots of Parmesan and
Hmm.
chicken and mushrooms. And I did a little sauce thing and it was very good.
Good.
Yeah. That's,
And do you have any leftovers?
uh, no,
You ate the whole thing.
I did. Well, it's just artichoke pasta. That's the good thing. You can eat the
Oh, you
whole
can eat as
entire
much as you want.
you can eat the whole entire box and it's like 60 calories.
Yeah, right.
It is.
Hmm.
I kid you not.
Yeah. But all the Parmesan that you're putting on it, and
No, it was okay. I think we should stop talking about
okay.
my dinner
Uh,
now. And I completely lost my train of thought now.
well, we
I
were
was
talking about
telling a
decluttering,
story
the
about
value of sentimental
how,
items.
yes, and like what is one of the things that you can do? And it's a very simple question is, does it bring you joy?
Does a cheese grater bring you joy?
Why do you keep on talking about the
Because that's
cheese
the
grater?
thing that you talked about.
That was just an example of a thing I wouldn't want to buy again. I actually took my cheese grater with me.
I'm very happy for you.
It was just a little one.
I have multiple cheese graters for various kinds of cheeses.
Yeah, so I don't want to talk about your cheese grater.
You want to talk about blueberries?
No, I don't want to talk about blueberries. I don't want to talk
Never want
about
to talk about what
cheese
I want to
graters.
talk about.
I don't want to talk about memory. I want to talk about getting through this list.
Okay. It's all about decluttering, right? It's
Yeah.
if you're downsizing, you're going to have less space. Now, you're going to laugh at me.
Oh God, here we go.
Here-
You made a spreadsheet, didn't you?
no, I didn't.
Label maker
No,
labels.
I made a scaled floor plan of the new
Oh,
space.
oh, you know what? I did that too.
You have to do it.
I did that, and I also made little scaled pieces of
Of
my
the furniture.
furniture.
Yes.
Oh my God. We're so nerdy.
Well,
But
I'll
I
tell you.
had to do it. I went from I don't even want to say,
A
but
big house to a smaller house.
yeah, one bedroom apartment in the city
Okay.
initially. Yeah.
So that's really important. I think that's the first thing that you need to address, because you need to decide, all right, is that king size bed or queen size bed going to
Yeah.
fit
Right.
and still have room to
Well,
walk
and
across
how
the
long are you
bedroom?
going to stay in this next place too?
Mhm.
Do you want to store some things? Because, this is like for me, it was just 1 year but it's like I really didn't want to store anything. Or do you want a real fresh start and buy some new stuff,
Mhm.
right? That's a decision too,
Sure.
right? So you got to sort through those belongings. What's going to work in those new rooms that you're going to have? Figure out, to your point, is it going to fit?
Yes.
My old stuff going to fit into my new lifestyle,
You don't want
whether
to.
that's physical or emotional.
Okay. I
Yeah.
hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah.
You don't want to be moving into a space and just be climbing over furniture and
No, of course not.
stuff.
No.
You want it
You're,
to
why? Because
you want it to be livable.
right, because your Aunt Ethel, gave you that
Cheese
armoire.
grater.
I'm thinking bigger pieces now. You really do have to work through it.
Okay.
The other thing, a decision to make is, do you hire a professional organizer to help you make a plan and declutter?
Would you do that? I don't think I would do it.
Well, I
I
didn't,
think
but
I think I
I
would
did
feel like
have
they
an
were
estate.
intruding on my.
I did have an estate sale.
Did you?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did.
Well, that's different. I had yard sales, and that's different.
You
It's
had
just a good way to get rid of stuff and
because you can hire people to manage your yard sale too.
Sure, or you can
Yeah.
just put up a notice on Facebook and say we're having a yard
Right,
sale.
because they do take a big chunk.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
you're not gonna. It's not a moneymaker.
it really isn't, but at least you're getting sort of something.
Sure, and you're not putting things in a landfill.
Exactly.
Mhm.
A lot of times I would just put things on the street and they would go in a heartbeat. It's amazing. Like you'd be taking one load to the street, and then by the time you went back for the second load, then it would be gone.
Well, it's because you were blocking traffic. You're not supposed to put it on the
Yes.
street. You're supposed to put it on the side of the street.
You know what I mean.
No, you're right about that. And
Yeah.
actually, where I live, there's a Facebook group called Curb Alert,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh,
people will put
hey,
things
there's a really nice dresser
on the side of the road, and they'll take a picture of it and post it to the Curb Alert
on
Facebook
Parker
page.
Lane next to on the corner of Parker and Greta.
And that's a better way. So if you live in a less traveled street, people aren't going to be driving by to
Right,
see that
right.
it's there. So, look, things like Craigslist and Instagram and Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah,
And I know people that sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace all the time.
yeah.
All right. What else
So
can we do to declutter?
sort through.
Declutter.
So sort through your belongings.
Mm-hmm.
And they suggest starting with the easiest rooms first, such as the garage or basement. I don't agree that garage and basement are the easiest
Oh
rooms.
gosh, no, because that's the dumping ground. Where
Yeah,
like
exactly.
where 10 years
what's
ago,
even in there?
10 years ago you said, I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to put it in the garage and I'll deal with it later. And then 10 years later, it's still sitting there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They also suggest be ruthless in your decision making. If you haven't used it in a year, you probably don't need it. Well, how about 20 years?
All right. So the sentimental items,
Yeah.
what can you do with those?
Okay, so that's like sitting down in the middle of the room with a glass of wine and going, okay, I'm going to look through these photos. I'm going to decide, how. What's interesting about this is, I don't know about you, but I had a couple boxes of old photos, right?
Mhm.
But now, of course, you don't have that because
No.
everything's digitized.
Mhm.
So it's kind of interesting, although you might have photographs of your older relatives. Of course, you might want to keep those, that
Sure.
sort of thing. You do want to take some time with those stuff. You don't want to feel rushed. Like, I know this actually happened to me the other day. I was cleaning out my office and I had a box of things that were old projects and stuff. And I ended up like just kind of tossing everything into the recyclable thing. And I was like, I wonder if there was anything in there that I really need. Like I needed like old documents or anything that I should have kept. And it was too
Mhm.
late. It already went in. So take some time to go through that stuff so you don't feel like you've been rushed through that
There's
decision.
an expression that I use quite frequently in all aspects of life, and it especially applies to this because the job can seem overwhelming. And it's how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah. One bite at a time.
So you
Yeah.
do a little bit at a time, and we started by saying start early. Now, if you decide to downsize, I think maybe one of the first things you need to consider is, okay, what kind of housing am I moving into?
Yeah.
So are you going to be renting? Are you going to buy something smaller? Are you moving into a 55 plus community?
How long are you going to stay?
How long are you going to stay? Where is it going to be?
Do you need to redecorate?
Always.
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend who completely changed the whole space. Completely.
Okay.
And is getting all new stuff. And I think that is sort of a moment in time where, because we, right or wrong, attach a lot of emotion to our space and the things in our space. Whereas really in reality, there's this acronym, home being the acronym is heart of, how's it go?
I thought it
Home
was
is,
Huron, Ontario, Michigan, and Erie. Is
no, now I've forgotten what I was going to say again. Harmony of mind expressed.
okay.
Think about that now. Your home is really about your
Janet's gesturing quite wildly right now.
your internal space, your that's where your comfort is. That's where your peace is. That's it really doesn't have anything to do with the four walls, really.
hmm
You can be happy or unhappy in many different types of environments, right?
Sure.
So maybe try to detach a little bit from those things.
hmm
And
They're
I
just things.
Yeah, and I know like the last time I did this, I was like, I don't really want to care about the stuff. If I were to lose my furniture or whatever tomorrow, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, that was my whatever, whatever. Like you would just kind of want to be free to just shut the door and not worry.
It's interesting. I know what you're saying, but there are some things that I feel a strong attachment to.
Yeah,
And they're not things that you would kind of guess.
your cheese grater.
No, I really don't have an attachment to my you apparently you do. You keep bringing it up.
I
Uh,
have an awesome cheese grater.
no, I have. So I like to cook.
Yeah.
I have a very nice set of kitchen knives,
Oh,
chef's knife.
well, those are definitely worthwhile. Yeah.
It's not because they're very nice, which they are, but very close friends of mine gave them to me 30 years ago.
Okay, I get that. And
And I
plus,
think of
by
them
the
every.
way, knives are really
They
expensive.
are.
Good knives are expensive.
They are. I hope my kids aren't listening because I bought them each a set of steak knives for Christmas.
Oh, don't say it.
Well, they're not listening.
No, yeah, probably not. I don't think
Probably not.
No, yeah,
And they are expensive.
yeah.
But I mentioned my kitchen knives and my chef's knife. I think of my friends that gave it to me
Yeah.
every
I
time
get that.
every time I use them.
When they're really thoughtful gifts and
hmm
stuff, you don't want to just be like, yeah, whatever.
Sure.
No, I agree.
hmm
Listen, I'm somebody who like saves cards, so
I'd
I,
say some.
yeah, anything from my daughter. I have like her artwork from when she was
I have a little
5.
bit. I have notes that my kids sent to me, or like I would be on a business trip and I'd come home and there'd be a little note for me from my kids, like "Welcome home, Daddy." I have
Oh,
some of those.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, deal with the sentimental items. Be kind to yourself. Take your time, hire professionals.
Sure. Sure.
That can, if it's too much to go through or to pack yourself, then hire away.
Do you have anything of your daughters that you're storing for her, or well, they have their own house now, but
Yeah, I did give her the things that I had
yeah,
been saving for her.
I still
And
have
she's like, I
some.
don't want that. No, she didn't say that. Just kidding.
You only say that because you think she might be listening. I have things
Yeah,
of my
it's
kids that I'm
funny.
still storing, and my younger daughter is coming home for Christmas. I still say coming home. She hasn't lived with me in a long time, but she's talking about bringing some of the things that I'm storing for her back home.
Oh, good.
I know.
Right?
I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And then she'll throw it away there. So there's some additional tips we can just go through
Real quick.
quickly. Get help from family and friends.
Yeah, ask them.
Because you can actually make this kind of stuff fun, right? If you're with a friend and you're helping each other and you're maybe having a glass of wine, whatever,
And
you
you
can
can
pack the
say,
kitchen.
"Hey, Michelle, do you need a cheese grater? I've got an extra."
Well, I was, it's funny that you should mention Michelle because she's really good at like every once in a while she'll go through my closet with me and she'll be like, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. No, keep that, get rid of that. I need somebody who's brutal like that.
Okay.
So don't be afraid to ask for help
All right.
and take your time. Don't rush through the process. And
hmm
remember, it's an opportunity to simplify your life and focus on what's really important.
It is, and it can be exciting to go into
It
a
is
new space and
exciting.
kind of make it your own.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
I'm not really a decorator myself, but I do like making a space my own.
Right.
All right. I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow, that was fast.
It was.
Yeah, I think there's probably maybe a lot of side conversations that were happening on that, but there are the gems, and there's lots of other references in the show notes that you can use about organizing tips, sketching. There's a room sketcher, like to do what we were talking about.
Yeah, I get the
Um,
graph paper. I'm old school. Graph paper and engineer's ruler.
Right. And there's also like services that you can contact for help if you need help.
Okay. A lot of
So,
stuff's going to be in the show notes on
yep.
Spotify.
Yep. So, Joe, are you ever going to downsize again?
I don't know if I'll downsize from where I
No.
am.
I don't know if I'm ever going to move again.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll
You
see.
never know.
All right. That's it for this week's episode of the 60 Plus Podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Janet. Bye.